A few big storms are going to make their way onshore of the west coast, promising very heavy rainfall and mountain snow. A mild weekend is in the cards as one of the mildest November weekends here on record in some areas. Over 50-year temperature records could be broken, and the polar vortex stretching and also getting disrupted may impact early December's outlook. We're going to take a look at that later on in the video. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, everybody. We cover United States and Canada here on the channel, as well as the tropics during tropical weather season. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you covered. Turn on the post notification bell to all so you get all my videos, all my live streams when I do post them to my channel. Like the video if you do enjoy it. Give it a thumbs up. Also share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. So let's look here at the mild weekend that we have in store, because my oh my, is it going to be warm here from coast to coast, west coast to east coast, or from Canada to Mexico, north-south. It is going to be very warm. A lot of red here on this map, and these temperature anomalies are 20, 30 degrees above normal of what we should see here for mid-November standards. And it's all due in part to a big ridge of high pressure that is building across the central United States this weekend. That's going to provide plenty of sunshine, and that sunshine will go to work and warm up those temperatures both for tomorrow on Saturday and for Sunday as well on November the 16th. Now, we are watching a big storm system moving in off the west coast for California. We're going to talk about here in a minute, but man, let's look at these low temperatures. This is what we're going to start off with Saturday morning. So if you're heading out to any errands you may have to run, to the grocery store or anything like that, it is going to be very mild here and really feeling more like September than November. And you can see into the 40s and 50s here to start off the day on Saturday. Record warm lows from the Central Plains in Nebraska all the way to Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan here. It is going to be a mild start. And as we go into tomorrow afternoon, a mild start means a mild end to the day as well. Records will be broken here across a large chunk of Texas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas. Areas boxed out here could be well into the 80s and even into the low 90s here into northwest Texas tomorrow, especially into the Wichita Falls area and Abilene, the most likely candidates to get to 90 tomorrow. And these are like 50-year records, folks. And you can see as we go into Sunday, it's still going to be very warm down here into central and coastal Texas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, all the way back to Abilene, well into the 80s and near 90 yet again to close out the weekend. Now we look at this ridge of high pressure to the east, and we have lower pressure to the west, and this is a big storm that is moving in across portions of the west coast, in particular for California, and this storm is not the only one. We got another one diving south and eastbound from the Aleutian Islands up toward Alaska, onshore of the west coast by Monday on November 17th, and that's not all the storms we have. We have a third one coming in across the west coast by late next week on Friday, November 21st, a week from today. So 3 big storms across California, and that's going to bring some very healthy precipitation rates here as well. So looking here at the weekend, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall for central southern Cali here, especially for Los Angeles. You have any plans in and around Los Angeles, San Diego? It is going to be very wet as we go through the day on Saturday. A washout is looking likely. We also have another storm system here tomorrow evening that is going to be moving through the Great Lakes. And as we showed you, the temperatures are going to be mild. I think a lot of this into the United States will be rain in the green here, but there could be a mixed bag here in the purples and pinks up towards Montreal into Quebec, and then snowfall closer to the Hudson Bay. Now, as we go into the weekend, that same storm could be spreading potentially some snowfall, especially at night and early in the morning across New England. So into portions of New York, up into Vermont, New Hampshire, and northern Maine towards Caribou. That's where we could see a few inches of snowfall. But that second storm will be coming in across California heading into Monday, and yet again, we'll be producing some very heavy rainfall rates, very heavy snowfall rates for the Sierras. There's that first system, a weak disturbance moving across portions of the Midwest early next week. That second storm coming in. That second storm will be eventually moving into the central U.S. later next week. This could be our severe weather maker. And then a third storm moving in across the West Coast. So you get an idea it's going to be a very active weather pattern heading closer towards Thanksgiving, and it is going to be a wet one here for the weekend. Look at California into portions of Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Santa Clarita, Sacramento Valley in general here from north-south. We're going to be seeing a couple of inches of rainfall, and a lot of this is coming within a 24 to 36 hour period. So flooding, mudslides, definitely a possibility for California. Keep a very close eye on that. And you can see these totals again into the proper area of Los Angeles. Downtown could be seeing 5 inches of rainfall just between now and 7 a.m. on Monday, November the 17th. Now we look here at the rest of the country heading into next week. Again, it's going to be an active weather pattern. We're going to see another large-scale storm system moving from the Midwest into the Great Lakes. Colder rains to the north, but I do feel a severe weather threat may be on the increase across portions south of the Ohio River, through the Tennessee Valley, and into the Dixie Alley region, all the way to the Gulf Coast on Thursday night and then into Friday. So the 20th and the 21st of November, we do have to watch the threat for severe weather, and this could include damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes. It's still yet to be determined how strong this system will be, but the stronger the storm will mean a higher threat for severe weather. The weaker the storm, the weaker the threat of severe weather. So that, just keep that in mind. Nonetheless, this storm is likely to produce some pretty healthy rains from the Great Lakes, Midwest, and Ohio Valley, all the way south to the Gulf Coast and everywhere in between. Mississippi Valley in particular going to be the prime candidate to see several inches of rainfall with this system, and there could be some flooding in spots. We'll keep you updated on that as we get specific totals later in the week. On the cold side, a lot of that snow is going to be piling up in the watershed out west, Sierras, the Rockies, and then all the way up here into southern Canada. The eastern U.S. will be milder out ahead of these storms, so that will mean more liquid precipitation in the form of rainfall versus the snowfall here in later November. Now, as we look through next week, our temperature trends still are mild, right? We're going to be continuing to see the milder air, more records being broken. Again, these are like 50-year records across Texas and portions of Louisiana. So it's not like it happens every year. And then across portions of Tuesday into Texas again, into Louisiana, we have more records being broken. Finally, I think by the midweek portion of next week on Wednesday, November 19th, I think we're going to be still pretty mild near the Gulf Coast, near 80 degrees, but we're not going to be seeing like those 50-year-old records being broken still all the way through the week. I think we'll be cooling off a handful of degrees. Now, let's take you up to the stratosphere. We live at the surface of the Earth, and that is the troposphere. The stratosphere is about 20 miles above the surface of the Earth, and what you call a sudden stratospheric warming event is occurring, and this means the stratosphere is rapidly warming, right? And as you go up in altitude, typically at where airplanes fly and then even higher than that, naturally the atmosphere cools, right? Well, if you have warmer air, and warmer air does rise through the stratosphere, that only means one thing: the colder air gets displaced underneath of that warm air, and that means it's going to come down from the stratosphere to where we live in the troposphere. So that is likely to happen over the next few weeks, and it's going to be a process. It's not going to be an overnight thing. I think as we go to the last week of November, it's going to trend warmer still for the east, especially east of the Continental Divide, and then west of the Rockies toward the west coast. That is where we're going to start to see the effects of the polar vortex being stretched or disrupted, bringing that colder Arctic and Siberian air down across the western U.S. between Thanksgiving and December 1st. Now, as we go into the first week of December, the 1st through the 7th, that colder air will start to ooze eastward into the Midwest and the plains. Still a little bit warmer than normal along the East Coast, but whenever you see Alaska very warm, that cold air is going to be displaced further south. And remember, Western Canada, in particular, British Columbia, has had a lot of heavy snow early on this season, so that colder air moving over snowpack means it's not going to be moderating a lot in the western U.S., and then I think it becomes all of the lower 48's problem as we go into the second week of December, the 8th through the 15th, leading up a couple weeks ahead of Christmas. I think we could be very cold and frigid across portions of the northern plains and into the upper Midwest, with cold spells as far south as the Gulf Coast. Why that's also important is our active weather pattern will be getting even more active as we go into the end of the month. I think an active weather pattern with a subtropical jet will start to link up with our polar jet coming from the north. That's bringing all the cooler air from Canada down, and a big, large-scale storm system track will start to develop across the plains and then up here toward the Midwest and Ohio Valley, bringing above to well above normal precipitation. And it looks like that continues, although a little bit further south as we go into the first week of December. And then in the second week of December, remember, cold, frigid Arctic air is drier air. So with a high pressure ridge, very strong, I would imagine, in the northern US, bringing all that cold air will bring more sunshine and push that storm track further south toward the Gulf Coast, the Dixie Alley, and toward the Carolinas, getting in towards mid-December. So that is something we're keeping a track of. And that means as we have colder air coming in, we have larger storms, more dynamic storm systems. That means we could be seeing some heavier snows across the northern plains into the upper Midwest and then parts of New England as we start to that step down process of getting that snowfall further south. And it would not be out of the realm of possibility to see some snowflakes as far south as Amarillo, Little Rock, Oklahoma City, St. Louis, or Nashville as we go between now and the middle of December. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's very important so you guys keep up to date on all of the weather forecasts out your door. We cover Canada, we cover the United States, and we also cover the tropics during tropical weather season. Like the video if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. Also give it a hype out there as well. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.